Let's give Tom Del Beccaro a big round of applause. Are you ready to take back our country? Yes. Are you ready to take back this state? Yes. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing elected officials and politicians talking about what they're going to do for you all the time. I always say don't read their lips, read the record. Because the bottom line is, you need to look and look at every one of these candidates that are talking about what they're going to do. But the best indication about what someone's going to do in the future is what have they done in the past. Amen. And I'm very proud of my record in Sacramento. As Tom mentioned, you know, let me take you back to a different history in California. How many people remember the energy crisis? I was a brand new assembly member, and I was in my 20s. And believe it or not, back then, people were talking about Gray Davis being the next president of the United States. I know it's hard to imagine now, but let's think back. He won the governor's office by 22 percentage points. He was the governor of the largest state, his most prolific fundraiser in the Democratic Party, and he was already campaigning in New Hampshire. That's where we were at the beginning of the energy crisis. And at that time, he locked the state in these 15, 20-year energy deals that he wouldn't disclose how much he was spending. Now, I've always believed that the people have a right to know how much money we're spending, because it's not the governor's money, it's not my money, it's the people's money. And the people had a right to know how much money it was costing to keep the lights on here in the state of California. Well, when I asked Gray Davis to disclose this information under the Public Records Act, he refused. So I did the only thing I thought I could do at the time. I took him to court in a lawsuit, Strickland v. Davis. I encourage you to go look it up, Google it, Strickland v. Davis. Now I remember like it was yesterday, and you could visualize this with me. I walk into my Republican caucus, and you can imagine I'm a 20-something newly elected state assembly member, and I said, I'm suing the governor of California, who's with me? To say I didn't get a warm response is an understatement. In fact, a couple of my Republican colleagues after the meeting took me outside, they put their arms around me, and they said, you know what? You can't go forward in this lawsuit. Because if you go forward in this lawsuit, you're going to be in the worst office in the Capitol building. The governor is going to veto every piece of legislation you have. And we think you might have a bright future. You're going to end your political career before it even gets started. And back then, it was gut check time. Look, my dad's my hero. He served in Korea and Vietnam, over 20 years in the military as a drill sergeant. And I thought back to those brave people who fought hard to preserve the freedoms that we have. You know what? And I told them at that time, I didn't get elected to go along to get along. I got elected to do the right thing. And not only did we take Gray Davis to court, we won that lawsuit. We held Gray Davis accountable, and he had to force disclosure. And what we found out then was he locked in these 15, 20-year contracts at a higher price than the worst price during the energy crisis, during the spot market. Energy companies had bad PR. They went back to the negotiation table. They renegotiated those contracts, and we saved the ratepayers over $6 billion for the next 15 to 20 years. The reason I share that story with you, isn't that exactly the kind of leadership we need today in the Controller's office? The Controller, for those of you that don't know, the Controller is the watchdog of the State Treasury. 4 years ago, the current Controller promised to audit every square inch of state government. He didn't do his job. He failed to fulfill his promise. And if you read about inefficiencies in State Department, state agencies, it's really the media that exposes those inefficiencies. If you look on the Controller's website, I encourage you to go to it, he says his job is to monitor cities, counties, and special districts. Cities like Bell. His office admitted that they knew about the salaries in Bell and didn't do anything about it. We had millions of dollars changing hands. He sits on the PERS board, that's the public retirement system for hardworking families. and millions of dollars changed hands. People are getting civilly prosecuted, and he remains silent. As Tom mentioned, when we talk about what's going on the Chronicle, when they uncovered the story about those school roofs, where it's an extra $120 million to pay their union buddies on no-bid contracts, that's an extra $120 million that we could put in the classroom for the kids. We need an active state controller. And anybody who's known me knows I'm not silent about anything. We need someone who will fight for you, the hard-working taxpayers of California, because it's your money, it's not their money. And let me just conclude. I don't win this race without your help. I need your help. If you're tired of those inefficiencies, if you're tired of government wasting your money, and you want a Republican in office, more importantly, a conservative who's going to fight to make sure we hold all levels of government accountable, I need your vote, I need your support, and I need you to spread the word. Tony Strickland for State Controller. Thank you so much.